Why is Stevie Wonder the greatest? Because at 13 years old, he was the youngest artist ever with the #1 hit on the US Billboard charts. He already had a greatest hits album at 17 years old. He's been nominated for 74 Grammy Awards, winning 25. These are both top 5 all time for any artist. He's tied for winning the most Album of the Year awards, but the only one to win 3 in a row. He has an Oscar, a Golden Globe, a Kennedy Center Honor, Distinguished Service Award, National Order of Arts and Letters, a Gershwin Prize, Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, the first American Troubadour Award, the first Image Award, a UN Messenger of Peace Honor, a Presidential Medal of Freedom. He was inducted to the Rock and Roll, Songwriters, and Apollo Legends Hall of Fames. He has 20 R&B #1 hits and 10 US pop #1 hits. He also sold 100 million records and 19.5 million albums. He signed a $13 million deal with Motown, the largest music contract at the time. He was the first Motown artist to earn full creative control of his music. He also gave Motown its first #1 selling album. He played nearly every instrument on multiple albums. He helped create a holiday that wasn't religious or based on a president, Martin Luther King Day. And maybe the most honorable thing he's produced, 9 children. Note that the majority of these accomplishments took place after a horrible car accident that left passenger Stevie in a coma for almost a week. And that's all just Google's argument for why Stevie's great. My own insight is that no one has a catalog covering romance, politics, religion, social harmony, and fun as fluidly as Mr. Wonder. He can be considered the greatest musician, writer, producer, composer, arranger, and/or human while being at least top 10 on vocals, harmonica, piano, drums, and head bobbing. I'm voting Stevie for anything based on his versatility alone. He's created classic songs in about every genre, every style possible, not even including what he's composed and played for other artists. He's done R&B, classic soul Motown sound, funk, jazz, smooth jazz, jazz fusion, reggae, classical, blues, gospel, country, doo-wop, Latin, rock, disco, techno, New Jack Swing, big band, holiday, electro, EDM, beach surfer music, ragtime, African, Indian, Oriental, hip-hop. He even raps a little on songs like Tomorrow Robins Will Sing, ballads, which happen to be some of the greatest ever, and easy listening adult contemporary light FM, whatever you want to call it. He sang in different languages: Zulu, Spanish, of course English, Italian, Portuguese, and French, barely. He's done many more songs I'm not fully sure about, so I'll call those experimental. Ukulele es una historia, I Am Singing, is one of the longest song titles I can think of and has sort of a traditional Afro, Caribbean, Latin vibe mixed with synths. Oh, by the way, it features 3 different languages. A lot going on. Overjoyed, where he's using leaves and water drops as part of the drum beat beneath classical music. Never in Your Sun is like dance electro pop with flamenco trap-like tambourines. All this in the 1980s. Pastime Paradise has Latin and classical influence, plus it features a gospel choir. Boogie on Reggae Woman is funk with a blues and reggae rhythm. Sin When Your Love is an R&B song with a reggae-like one-drop and jazz classical music chords. But it also features this distinct hi-hat that sounds like it's maybe overdubbed or auto-tuned or something. Until You Come Back to Me as a unique Motown soul tune with a little bit of bossa nova and classical mixed in, and it has this little cha-cha breakdown. You've Got It Bad Girl is like a soft funk jazz tune arranged with synth bass and a kick drum played in between the offbeats. It also has a little Latin feel, pretty different. Another Star has elements of disco, Latin, and calypso. Superwoman, Where Were You When I Needed You is a long medley of 2 distinct song styles, the first half being smooth jazz, cha-cha-like. The second half is the rare up-tempo ballad. Even Stevie's very first hit, Fingertips, was unique in that he's seamlessly alternating between a complex harmonica solo, singing, and directing a live audience, likely being the only child able to do all that. Stevie's range and diversity is also shown in the themes of his various projects. A Christmas album that isn't just carols and other standards, an instrumental album led by harmonica melodies, an album of cover songs, a beach music album, a bunch of live albums, an album sung completely in Italian, 3 film soundtracks, and I lost count of all his greatest hits compilations. Stevie made a lot of alternative music fit mainstream. He's renowned for his exotic chords and innovative sounds. Not many artists are able to incorporate the type of 9ths, 11ths, 13ths, chromatic phrases, and complex voicings into popular songs that Stevie uses. I doubt Stevie could even teach an efficient class in music theory because it'd be too intensive. Songs like Sin When Your Love and Don't You Worry About a Thing showcase his high level of musicianship while still appealing to popular music universally. My Cherie Amour is arguably the greatest song ever, featuring some of the most colorful chords on a pop tune. Technically, it would be Ma or Mon Cherie Amour, depending if the Cherie is male or female. But again, Stevie's always been universal, even in the 60s. Stevie uses clavinets and synthesizers as well as anyone. He's one of the pioneers of using synth as a bass, and he has a handful of songs on which you might think you're hearing an actual bass guitar. He finds a way to literally squeeze an old-school chromatic harmonica onto any day's current sound, making the instrument timeless. He was using the talk box before it got popular in 1976 and is one of the earliest users of the harpeggi, a relatively new string instrument that fuses piano and guitar techniques. Stevie plays some of the most unique drum grooves and has as tight a sense of rhythm as anyone. His breath control and tonal range are up there with the best. I still don't know how he was able to ignore the urge to breathe at the end of Seem So Long, where he connects 2 different long runs with no space in between. Throughout his career, he's used a variety of singing tones, including soft, whispering, belting, aggressive, head voiced, loose, playful, soulful, and experimental. On Living for the City, Stevie's given the majority of these. One frequent technique within many Stevie songs is modulating keys mid-song, and he's done this ever since the 60s all the way through the 2000s. This isn't necessarily a sign of greatness or not, but it does test one's musical dexterity when performing live. It also shows that Stevie isn't lazy and just using the scales that are convenient. Stevie publicly has a net worth of barely $100 million. Herb Alpert, $850 million. And many other musicians make more than him too. Is someone paying Stevie in ones telling him they're hundreds? What are we doing? An ongoing amount of artists have made full albums covering his music, plus I'm sure that many others have been doing so without paying him for decades. Not to mention the countless times his music's been and will be sampled. I'm confident he should have been beyond a billionaire as early as his 30s with all his music and influence. And Stevie's written some popular hits that many may not even realize or remember. such as Michael Jackson's I Can't Help It, The Spinners' It's a Shame, Rufus and Shaka Khan's Tell Me Something Good, and Smokey Robinson's Tears of a Clown. He wrote for many others, including Roberta Flack, Donny Hathaway, Quincy Jones, Minnie Riperton, Sergio Mendes, Herbie Hancock, Eddie Murphy, Aretha Franklin, Neil Diamond, Julio Iglesias, The Beach Boys, Whitney Houston, Elton John, Gladys Knight, Dionne Warwick, James Taylor, Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, and his ex-wife Sarita Wright. If you need some more name drops, Stevie was able to get legends on his tunes as features like Dizzy Gillespie, Luther Vandross, Jeff Beck, James Jamerson, Nathan East, Ray Parker Jr., Sheryl Crow, Denise Williams, George Benson, and Eddie Levert. Stevie could hold his own in any music setting and hang with anybody musically. Anyone, regardless of musical taste, can find at least one song, one lyric, one groove, one chord progression from him to appreciate for a while, if not forever. I can't think of any other artist with that capability. On a more personal and biased note, I became a complete musician because of Stevie. He has so many diverse songs that allowed me to pick up the nuances of different styles, scales, chords, and perfect pitch. He has multiple songs representing every natural major minor key, so I used them to figure out what key other artists' music was in. The Stevie Wonder anthology was like the Rosetta Stone for me, as it helped me to translate and navigate from woodwinds all the way through strings and percussion. I used it to make sure I was reading and playing properly on whatever instrument I picked up, since I already knew the songs. Before making this video, I knew about 200 Stevie-influenced songs. That spanned over 30 years of my life. I ran through a rabbit hole of about another 100 in the past week alone. How could anyone ever live long enough to digest Stevie's full catalog? I get tired of every bio, article, and documentary mentioning that Stevie is blind, because it's always like, wow, he did all of that while blind. When you have some of the greatest ears, fingers, and creativity in history, eyesight can be viewed as a distraction. It's human to be blind. It's unhuman to be a living legend for over 6 decades. So with all of that, I challenge anyone to debate me on why Stevie isn't the most accomplished, prolific, versatile, innovative, humble, musical, underpaid, GOAT artist in history. Thanks to Wikipedia, uprocks.com, CNN.com, biography.com, businessinsider.com, salon.com, steviewonder.org, wealthygorilla.com, recordmecca.com, secondhandsongs.com, npr.org, rollingstone.com, medium.com, allmusic.com, songstube.net, ultimateclassicrock.com, YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify.